stories.
Yeah. All right, thank you for joining us. I'd like to welcome you to the November 12th regular meeting of the Board of Directors of Coastside County Water District. And we'll start with a roll call, please.
Okay, Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Michelson?
Yes.
Director Mueller?
Here.
Vice President Feldman?
Yes.
And President Reynolds?
Here. All right. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, and now we move to public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right. Patrick, we're probably not allowed to get an inflatable doll to have a. Well, you know, some inflatable mannequin to have as an
Well,
audience.
didn't you see the new robot that the Russians built that fell on its face? Well, maybe we could get one of those.
There you go. All right, how about, does any directors have anything like they'd like to pull from or comment on the consent calendar? Yes, sir.
I reviewed the financial statements, cash flow and petty cash and credit card statements. And I found them. I found one audit to you and discussed it with I can't remember who. It was explained clearly to me why. So
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Anybody else?
non-minded.
Okay, all right, let's have a roll call. Did you comment on those? Oh, okay. Roll call, please.
Need a motion and a second?
Okay, we need a motion to accept.
I move we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Michelson?
Yes.
Director Mueller?
Yes.
Vice President Feldman?
Yes.
And President Reynolds?
Yes, please. Got any meetings?
Well, I did go hiking down in Hager Lake and jump in the lake. And I can tell you it's some of the coldest water I've ever been in. Some of the cleanest water I've ever been in.
I thought the trail was closed for repair.
Well,
Did you?
we just, we just got right before the repair started. And I also did some touring in Oregon.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to go to a place where there's just water pouring out of every single crevasse. I mean, it's falling 100 feet off waterfalls, it's rushing down. I mean, I kept telling everyone I met, I'm only here trying to figure out how to get a pipeline. And make a
That's
connection.
why they ran you out.
It wasn't very popular.
Yeah. Bob, you got any meetings or comments?
No meeting.
Okay,
No,
okay. John?
I would like to make a brief comment. I don't know if our staff has this, but I got the Value of Water campaign. Have we received anything like this? And it's about project background for infrastructure and America Water at its crosswords and from challenge to powerful opportunity. And I even made a note about the background. Water infrastructure is critical to our country's economy. And I said, we're doing that. So may I just give it to staff to make it? I thought it was really pretty good.
You put it in every.
Oh, you already have it? Oh, I got that in the mail.
Oh, okay, yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't know where it came from now. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I thought that was pretty important.
Let's go on to general business.
Okay. So, the district has historically used radio communication between the tank site and the Munis water treatment plant. But given the DN tank project, staff recommends that we take the opportunity during the construction to harden or underground the district's communication infrastructure, which will allow for installation of fiber communications and which allows for real-time data acquisition and continuous communication capability.
That's an organic fiber, right? That was a joke.
Yeah. Okay. The proposed, so, our, equipment is getting much more sophisticated. We also have a new meter that goes out, a distribution meter that needs continuous communication. So So this proposed duct bank will include multiple conduits along with spares from the tank site to the water treatment plant. And it can be maintained and upgraded in the future. So we're building up for the future of the district. So our staff and our engineers looked at options for this project. And the initial estimate that we had looking at this was around 300,000. And so our team, Sean and Darren, have been working with our engineers to look at how we can do this more efficiently. And we got it down to 184,000. So it was a really great effort. So initially, we had planned for the trench in the road, and so and going up to the plant. But we are now opting to go with a directional boring for a good portion of that, and that keeps this infrastructure out of the road, which we already have PG&E and our water pipe, and there's a lot of things going on there. So we're going to be able to get it off the road in some portions of this project. So and then also the good news about this too is that we'll have access to the road most of the time while this is being constructed. So this is an additional scope of work that will be done as a change order to the DN tank project. Since we are in DN's work area, we need to do it through them. Atlas Pellizzari Electric will manage the project for DN, and we'll utilize Andrini Brothers for the trenching and Northern Directional Drilling for the directional boring. So if you have any questions, we have our experts here who can provide some.
I'm just kind of curious, how big a bore and how deep?
Okay, the bore will be approximately a foot round with all the pipes in it. And the depth will vary depending on where we're going. So there'll be certain places where we'll dive it deeper to get under some infrastructure.
What's the minimum depth? I'm just more curious of.
Our minimum depth is 36 inches. So anything that we bury in the district is 36 inches.
All right, just more.
So the minimum depth would be 36, and it'll probably get as deep as 6 or 7, maybe 8 feet.
Okay, no, yeah, just curiosity. Okay, cool, thanks.
Sean went over this with me and it totally makes sense, and I think it's really wise to do it now.
Oh, 100%, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some technical financial questions and stuff like that. Odds and ends. And this was not in plan. It's a new project.
It's a new project.
It's a new project. It was not budgeted.
Right.
And we're taking this opportunity to do it because there's work going on, which makes it easier to do it.
Yep.
At this point, is that correct? I'm just trying to get this sort of, is this only tied to the new tanks and that tank farm to the center at Nunez? Or does it also work with other facilities? Or is that just for this?
It's just for
It's
this.
unique to this particular facility, right?
Right.
Of this tank. All right, and if we do it now, at this point, it'll be cheaper than if we choose to do it later after it's all done. That's why we choose to make it a scope of work change with them versus a separate project with someone.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yes.
And it's not in budget per se, but it would be able to be absorbed in budget
Yes.
without any problem, because it wasn't mentioned. Right. Okay, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, it's an opportune time. I just wondered where it fit into the general scope of our financial plans. And things like that.
It hardens our communication.
Okay, sure, yeah.
That's really the big thing.
Just checking.
Go ahead, Ken.
I had two questions. One is, will this also be expandable, or will this already take into account the next tank?
It will do the next tank, and as part of this project, we also put in a turbidimeter that's gonna be reading, that's new equipment, and we have some other equipment that we're putting in before it goes out to service. All that communication needs to get up to the treatment plant, and the radio is intermittent. you guys know all the trees that we have there. So we lose the signal quite a bit. This is going to give us it's razor fast every time. We won't miss data. We'll never miss our tank level. So it's all the new equipment and it is expandable for stuff in the future. We built the box to add things because sometimes things come up and we didn't want to have a box that wouldn't fit a new piece of equipment from a Hawk or something.
Yeah, we tried that with pipelines. It didn't work too well.
Yeah, it doesn't work that well. So
And my other question for you is, on the horizontal boring, how many lineal feet is it approximately?
it's
500 feet.
500 feet of the bore. Total was 680 feet.
Oh, yeah.
There's some that's right out in front of the tank that we have to navigate.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, when we were putting it, we are also putting it has spares in it. So we're getting the 3-inch conduit that is the AT&T up, and we're getting our 2-inch conduit down. But the reason it's a 1-foot bore is because we're putting in some extras, because we all know that sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
And then we'll have spares that we can always, or if we decide that we want to put something else down there, it's a lot easier to have it in the ground already.
Well, I think they've given us the boring price seems like a bargain. So I think the numbers look great. So thank you for working hard to keep the total down.
Okay, we'll need a motion.
There's one big word in there. I don't know what it, how to pronounce it.
Where?
In the motion.
Oh,
The second line's on the bottom.
hang on, let's see it.
Yeah. ATT, you are.
Appurtenances. Appurtenances. Stuff.
What's
Stuff related to.
Related to.
Yep.
Appurtenances that belong to it.
Yeah, pertinent would be, I guess, the root.
Yeah, stuff that's ancillary to and part of. Like the tires on your car would be.
Not an
appurtenance.
impertinence.
Yeah. But it is quite a fun word. That's why we're not having a spelling quiz on.
Okay.
All right.
So I move that we authorize general manager to approve an additional scope of work for DN Tanks LLC on the Carter Hill pre-stressed concrete tank and seismic upgrades project for the installation of communication duct bank and appurtenances from the Carter Hill tank site up to the Nunes water treatment plant in the not to exceed amount of $184,216.44.
45 cents.
Thank you, board member, for getting that through. I can second it now. That's how go big guys don't know those big words too well.
All right, so now we gotta roll it.
We just fall in the appurtenances problem all the time.
Okay.
Director Coverdell,
Yes.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Mueller,
Hi.
Vice President Feldman.
Yes.
President-
Yes. Mary? What goes about the next one?
So at the October board meeting, the board awarded a contract to GSW Construction for the Casitas Wellfield Replacement Project for $3.7 million. So this project includes the construction of 6 new wells in kind, as well as modernization of the electrical and SCADA systems for the wells. At the district's request, Cecil prepared an estimate to provide construction inspection services as needed for the 998 hours of work that were for the project specifications. So the district has utilized Cecil on many projects, including the Highway 92 emergency pipeline replacement project, some other pipeline projects, Grandview, Poplar, and Myrtle Valve project and various things. And they have consistently come under budget. And I think, a lot of that is that they're really flexible in working with our staff and managing hours. And to give an example, they were 47% under budget for the Highway 92 budget. We are, very pleased, with their work, and we recommend that the or approve Cecil and Cecil.
Any comments, thoughts, questions?
Money on top of money.
Yeah.
They're under budget on their budget.
Yeah.
No, I mean. They're under budget on their budget.
You're on to something, Bob.
47% of less than what they budgeted for themselves. Not for the project. I'm gonna say, whoa, that,
So,
92 didn't get, it was pretty much on budget.
Yep.
I'm
so
sorry.
most of these projects, they're well under budget for the industry standard for the percentage of project that most people charge.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, so even though it is their budget, it is the industry standard. It's-
And that's fine. They're under their own budget. Yeah, but it's cool.
But what we find with them is that they're much more willing to work with us.
Right.
They'll actually, if they leave the job, they're not charging us for it, things like that.
No, I hear you. They do good work and the successes we've had with the projects they've been working on is obvious. I just want to make sure it's clear to the public that it's of their cost, not of the whole project cost, because certainly not ever affected in any of that. That's all I was making the point.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
John, you want to do it?
I would move to authorize the general manager to enter into a professional service agreement with Cecil and Cecil Enterprises Incorporated for construction inspection services for the Pilicetus Wellfield Replacement Project for a not to exceed amount of $299,913.
Well, at least these guys rounded it off the nearest dollar.
Yeah.
I'm sure they rounded up.
All right, yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, Director Coverdale,
Yes.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Director Mueller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman.
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Yes. All right, this next one confuses me. We've come to a 7 o'clock meeting, vote that we want to come to a 6 o'clock meeting, but we're already going to be an hour late to our 6 o'clock meeting, so we're in trouble before we've even voted.
No, that's next.
Did I skip one?
No,
That's it.
The resolution says it
For next
starts
month.
December 9th.
But then it's not as good a joke.
oh, it's a joke.
I like levity.
No, that's good.
I go to bed at 6:30, so that's. You get up at midnight to go to the market.
Yeah, so
We're already an hour late.
last month's meeting, we discussed the possibility and of changing the meeting time. So we were directed to go ahead and prepare a resolution. We did make one other change in the resolution, and it's moving the latest time to 9:30 versus 10:30. However, if there was a situation that you wanted to go past 9:30, you could arrange that at the meeting.
But I think that it has a nice sort of saying, we're anticipating keeping this in that time window, and that's not an unreasonable thing.
I just wonder if we're gonna get a discount on the room rental if we come in earlier and leave her. You get any kind of a back with that. Or dinner or. I don't know. We probably know what we can laminate on.
There you go. We talked about this last week or last month. Has anybody got a change of heart? Are we okay with this?
No, so I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 2025-08, changing the start time of Coastside County Water District regular board directors meeting from 7 PM to 6 PM, effective with the December 9 meeting, 2025 regular board of directors meeting. And yeah, based on the average age of the directors here, I think this is long overdue.
I second it.
It'd be great to have an older station.
I think it's important to state that, although it's written in your staff recommendation, two things gave us insight into making this change. We had always been very concerned with the availability of access to the public. That's why we did it a little later, so they would, with the new advent of technology and Zoom and things like that, it's easier for people to connect to us and get here if they need to and be able to do it more conveniently. We've seen no great overflow of people that have taken advantage of that later time. And for that reason, we feel that it makes sense and it's really within our prerogative to do. And it's also technically and statistically what many other agencies do, as I understand it. Others have changed to the same kind of.
Better for staff.
Yeah, better, and staff. That's what even most
Yeah.
important of all,
Yeah.
actually, it makes it easier for our staff
Yeah.
to not have to
Stay in place.
stay in place
Yeah.
for the extra time. So we really appreciate their time here and we want to make sure they have efficient use of their time as well as we have of ours. So that's important for people to understand if they wanted to know if this was just something we decided, to do for no good reason. We researched this and thought about it carefully and feel it's the right approach. Thank you.
All right.
Are there any negative impacts on your commute? No, you-
Okay.
All right.
Director Copel,
Yes.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Mueller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman.
Yes.
And President Reynolds.
Yes. Do you need me to sign this one or no?
I've got them ready here. All the sign.
All right,
Always ready.
Mary. Around that.
Now, it has a presentation for us. There have been some recent changes, so he's gonna walk through.
This is a rare treat for me. It is, I can't remember the last time I gave a PowerPoint presentation to this board or any other.
Do you need a laser
For
pointer?
that matter. And so for the members of the public, it will be shown online and it will be available after the board meeting. And for everybody in the room, you should have a copy and we'll walk through that. There has been a lot of talk about SB 707. I think one of the directors, Director Feldman, kind of asked, hey, are you gonna give an update to the board? The answer is yes, I'm gonna do that tonight. And so if we can go to the agenda. Be sure that Gina's with me here. Let's see. While she's doing that, I will tell you in advance that this presentation has a lot of material and it has a lot of citations because I'm a lawyer, number one. But actually the real reason is this is going to be kind of a handy reference for both board staff and me going forward because there will be unique situations that come up as there were with AB 2449 when we were doing the remote teleconferencing. And this will be a good reference for all of us and for me in particular to be able to go to the code sections and look at that. So I just wanted to let you know in advance. And a lot of this will be a review for you. So I did include a lot of the current law. Like I could have done a very short presentation that just did the changes from the current law, but then be like, well, what is the current law? So this has the details of the current law as well. And then I will highlight the changes for that. And then I will tell you that despite all the press about how significant SB 707 is on the Brown Act and how, some are very onerous and you have all these requirements. For this district, the changes are relatively modest. And you'll see as I walk through the presentation.
I had to go to the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you just click on side where it says agenda.
See, this is how rare I do PowerPoint presentations. The PowerPoint presentations I provide don't work.
Okay.
All right, are you with me?
Yeah, go to the first.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Okay, so here's the agenda. And the first 4 bullet points are SB 707 related, the changes to the Brown Act. Most of what we're going to talk about is in the second bullet point, which is the alternative teleconferencing requirements. I did want to throw in a few other legislative changes over the last 2 bullet points because they impact the board. They'll be super quick and there's 2 slides at the very end to go over those. So just moving on to the next one. This is the traditional teleconferencing rules, and I will always call these the pre-COVID requirements. And this is what we did when we had a board member who wanted to participate remotely before we had any of the COVID stuff.
And this is the old, we're gonna call in to the board meeting. We have, in the old days, we had the little speaker right here on the table and a director would call in. So these are the requirements under the Brown Act. These are largely unchanged. So if a director wanted to call in to the meeting, the teleconference location needs to be you need to let us know in advance because we got to put the teleconference location on the notice in the agenda for the meeting. The agenda has to be posted. If you're out somewhere, it has to be posted at the teleconference location. The teleconference location needs to be open to the public and accessible to the public. Members of the public must be allowed to participate in the meeting from each teleconference location. A quorum of the board must participate in the meeting from locations within the district boundaries, and all the votes must be by roll call vote. We haven't done this in a long time because now we use AB 2449.
Way back when.
But
I don't.
it is still available. If board members want to do that. And I think the big hang up for doing that is putting the location on the agenda and then having whatever location be open to the public.
Right up to the pigeons.
Okay, so moving on to the alternative teleconferencing rules, I've kind of loosely said these are the former AB 2449 requirements. So this is kind of the remote rules we've been using for the last several years. And there have been some changes here. And so SB 707 makes some clarifications, it does some expansions, it does some consolidations. But this allows board members to participate remotely without opening their physical location to the public or posting an agenda at that location. That's one of the big differences between pre-COVID and the alternative teleconferencing. But you must have a specific basis for doing it. And AB 707 identifies two: just cause and state or local emergency basis. And I'm going to walk through each of these. And then there's some changes because there's before SB 707, the two bases were just cause and emergency circumstances. And emergency circumstances has been blended into the just cause, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So when we're doing this alternative teleconferencing under either of these requirements, we have to meet certain things, and this is really basically unchanged. The public must be able to participate in the meeting by two-way audiovisual platform or two-way telephonic service supplemented by live webcasting and meeting. So that's kind of what we do now. The district must give notice of the means. The district must give notice of the means by which the public may access the meeting remotely and offer public comment. That is on your agenda now. You do that now. In the event of a disruption in the ability of the public to participate remotely, board cannot take any further action on items appearing on the agenda until public access is restored. Same as, and again, these are all the same. The district cannot require public comments to be submitted in advance of the meeting and must provide opportunities for the public to address the board in real time. We do that now. The next bullet point's new. The minutes must list each remotely participating board member and the statutory basis for remote participation. So that's a new requirement for the minutes. When we've used AB 2449, we've always been sure to identify who's participating remotely and the basis for doing that. So we kind of do that verbally, but we now need to be sure that it's in the minutes. Board members who are participating remotely must publicly disclose whether individuals over 18 years of age are present in the room with them at the location, their relationship, same requirement. And all votes must be by roll call vote. Again, same requirement. So the minutes requirement is new. So moving on to the two bases, the requirements of the two bases. So those are kind of standard procedural requirements. Then when we get to just cause, there's been some changes here, but some of the stuff is the same. So the additional procedural requirements are what we do now, so that they are the same. Board member must notify the board as soon as possible, which can be at the start of the meeting. So it's better if you know you're going to be participating remotely to let the staff and me know so we can prepare for that. A quorum of the board members must meet in person in a single noticed location of the boundaries, which is here in the boardroom. We must have a quorum of the board, 3 directors present for the board meeting. The board member must participate by both audio and visual. We're all used to doing that. And board members, this is the same, board members are limited to participating remotely under the just cause basis 2 times per calendar year. Because, and so that's the same as now, and there's different, there's some that can do more, but it's 2 times per calendar year for us because we meet once per month. And so the next page talks about the substantive reasons for this, and there's some changes here, and then there's the merge. So the first 4 are the same. When can you use just cause? If the member needs to care for a child, a parent, grandparent, sibling, spouse, or domestic partner, the member has a contagious illness, a need related to physical or mental condition that doesn't qualify as a reasonable accommodation for a disability under the ADA, or the board members traveling on official business of this agency, the district, or some other state or local agency. There's the next 3, there's either new or merged. So what's new is a board member who needs to participate remotely to protect an immunocompromised close relative from exposure to an illness. That's new. And the last one is new, of board members doing military service obligations. The second to last one is the former emergency circumstance basis, which is a physical or family medical emergency to prevent a member from attending a person.
What's the difference between the second from the bottom and the member needs to care for their child, parent, grandparent, sibling, spouse, or domestic partner?
So this one could be an emergency for, that's a good question. So this could be for themselves as well. Not caring for somebody else, but for their own emergency, for example. And the reason I'm pausing is because we have never used the emergency circumstances purpose in the past, because you may remember that the emergency circumstance under AB 2449 required board action. So the board member who wanted to use the emergency circumstance had to come forward, let the board know. The board would have to actually take action to allow that member to participate. So we never did that. So we always used the just cause. So this just kind of gets blended into this. So now if you need to use the emergency circumstance, the board doesn't have to take action. It just falls within this just cause basis.
Okay.
That's a relief.
But now getting to the board action, let's turn the page.
The member needs to protect an immunocompromised close relative from exposure to illness. He has to go remotely so he doesn't.
Pick something up at the meeting and bring it home to your immunocompromised partner.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't come because someone at the meeting maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe has something.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, it's the reverse.
And
He can't go there because he's afraid he'll get something there and he'll get
Bring it
back.
home.
yeah,
Okay, got it.
and if any of you
Oh,
have
boy,
a
I mean,
situation
really
where you're like,
parsing-
where you're concerned,
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's like,
parsing this stuff.
I don't know if I should be coming to the board meeting for whatever. And we can dive deeper into these things and come up with the basis for.
Yeah, there's too much humor. I don't want to pick that up.
Yeah.
That would be tough under the just cause.
Pretty good.
All right, moving on to the second basis for teleconferencing. State or local emergency. So when I looked at these requirements,
No, it's not funny. but-
when I looked at these requirements, just the framework of the board, you might remember, you probably won't remember the statute, but it was AB 361. And that was the first statute when COVID first hit. The board had to adopt a resolution every 30 days saying we still need to participate remotely because of the health issues. So when I look at these requirements, it reminds me of that. And so think about it in that context, that puts the basis for state and local emergency more in context, which was something they did on 361
Okay.
a while ago. All right, moving on. So now we're going to hit some slides where they're very short because they don't apply to it. So there's a section and talks about eligible subsidiary bodies. And there's an exception for being, and I will tell you that this is really geared toward, if you think about like citizens advisory committees and allowing them to be able to participate, use alternative teleconferencing requirements. But there is an exception for this, and so I didn't go into the details because elected board members can't use this. And all of our committees, standing and advisory committees, are Brown Act committees, and Brown Act committees require that they only be made up of board members. And so all of our committees would not fall within this, so I didn't go into the details of this. If we were ever to think about forming a citizens advisory committee that didn't include board members, we might want to look at this. Moving on to multi-jurisdictional bodies. Again, the district does not fall within this, so I didn't bother going into the details. This falls, think the two main requirements are you have to have representatives from more than one county, city and county or special district, or a joint powers authority. So if we were ever to create a joint powers authority for bonding, for example, this might apply to us. But the requirements, I will tell you, the requirements for this are more onerous than the just cause. So you might want to just use the just cause. And I think what this is really intended to do is like these public agencies that are statewide. So some of these agencies that have representatives that are across California, a portion of California, and it's really hard for them to get to the board meetings on a regular basis. This is really kind of intended to address that. Okay, then there is a disability accommodation partner. So I did go into the details here because this could at some point apply to us if a board member has a disability and needs a reasonable accommodation for that disability. That person who is participating because of a reasonable accommodation can do so using a much more streamlined teleconferencing requirement. And that is, the requirements are this: the remote participation as a reasonable accommodation is treated as in-person for quorum and location requirements. So those requirements of quorums being here don't apply. Board member must participate through both audio and visual. So that's what we do, unless the disability requires off-camera participation. And if there's somebody who's in the room with them that's 18 years or older, they would have to disclose that and say what the relationship is. So this might be a unique circumstance depending on what happens that we look into for a board member. Okay, the next slide. All right, eligible legislative bodies. This, I think, is where you've heard about all the onerous requirements that SB 707 does, and things like enhanced teleconferencing and transparency requirement, translation of agendas, closed captioning for remote platforms, outreach of certain groups. You've heard about all this stuff and saying this is going to be, does not apply to us. It only applies to really the largest public agencies and cities and counties in the state. We don't come close to meeting the requirements of that. So I didn't go into any of the details. So we do not have to worry about anything that you hear about eligible legislative bodies.
So this is, we can put this our statement of why we don't take over San Francisco.
Well, you could, but you would have to deal with this. Right. So those are the main kind of teleconferencing requirements that you saw. Most of that fell within remote participation and when you can do it and how you do it. Here's just a few other Brown Act updates that are in SB 707. It clarifies the authority to warn and remove disruptors, and it applies equally to in person, which has always been there in the Brown Act. And it's now explicit for remote participation.
That's great.
But I've always interpreted that the law allows that, but now it is express in the Brown Act that you warn somebody who's disrupting the meeting remotely, and if they don't heed the warning, we can remove that.
Okay. I didn't realize we couldn't.
Right, because I've always interpreted you could.
Yeah, no, we could.
Okay.
But it's expressed.
So
I'm glad you read this more carefully and got us the.
confirm
I
that.
didn't know you were putting this.
Okay.
Okay, Number two is anybody who is newly elected or appointed to this board, we have to provide the text of the Brown Act. So I don't know if we already do that, but I know there's
I
training.
don't remember.
I don't think so.
And then,
We give them the
and then-
document.
this applies to if there's going to be any action on compensation for department heads or similar administrative officers, there needs to be a verbal report that action is taken. And so that's kind of the overview of SB 707. It is a summary. I think it captures a lot, but as we experienced with AB 2449, unique issues will come up. And we'll look at those and then we'll dive deeper in as needed. But this is kind of a summary of those requirements.
Can you go back to the last bullet point on this? Agencies must before final action verbally report out the compensation for. So if we were discussing the general manager's salary, we'd have to say it out loud.
Yep.
I would think it would be in the motion or, okay, all right. But it's
Yes, you
just
would have
called
to,
out.
you would have to say it out loud, but it now extends to more than the general manager. The general manager was all array of requirement. We would go over the amendments to the contract, we verbally describe the compensation, benefits. Now this expands it to other management level positions, not just the general manager. And so it's something Mary and I and Jeffrey will have to kind of stay on top of when we're going to be increasing compensation for department heads. We'll need to provide a report, a verbal report to the board.
At the end
before
of the
that
day-
action is taken.
When in doubt. On any of this stuff, we check with staff, who then checks with council.
Yep.
And clarifies any questions we may have. Is that correct?
That's right.
That's the way I operate normally. And you check staff and make sure they understand clearly what we're doing. I mean, I would do that anyway.
Yeah.
Even if I thought I understood this, because all simple things can be made so difficult. That you can't understand them, and it's best to ask the experts, which is what I think. I mean, I will continue to do that and feel that's the most appropriate thing to do. But this certainly helps clear the air of a lot of the chatter and noise that's been going on about all this stuff, because it sounded pretty dramatic.
Right.
Right.
I got a brief comment, and that through the chair, I'm sure, and the board. So, Patrick, that is probably one of the most thorough presentations on this issue I don't think I've ever heard anywhere in the country. Boy, congratulations. Newsom should give you a plaque. Really?
He's got two more.
Okay.
I got two more slides, but thank you.
It's been warmed up.
But that's done with the Brown Act. Now we can just roll on quickly to two other laws that impact you as directors. So SB 827.
Yeah.
So the bottom line here is that you get to do 2 more hours of training every 2 years, and this new training is on fiscal and financial training.
So how is it the governor's chief of staff is allowed to embezzle? Shouldn't they be taking this kind of training?
Okay, well,
I only looked at this requirement for you. I
thank you.
didn't look at other,
Mhm.
other state employees and so, I don't know, it's anybody who, generally speaking, anybody that has to do the AB 1234 training, which is the transparency ethics training that you do
Yeah, yeah.
every 2 years.
Brown Act.
Yeah,
Transparency.
yeah, the Brown Act.
Ethics.
Anybody who has to do that generally would need to do this fiscal and financial training, but there's some nuances to that. But I can tell you, you as board members, clearly in the statute, you have to do AB 1234 training, and you have to do this now 2 hours of new fiscal and
By
financial
January.
training. And so you'll probably start seeing
By
stuff
January.
at Aqua, CSDA,
Yeah.
the newsletters about who's going to put on this training. The good news is,
You don't have
for
to.
all of you who are currently seated, you have 2 years to do
Right.
it. So you don't have to do it until January
1
1,
January
2028.
Okay.
And I would be surprised if all of a sudden these conferences that you attend or online trainings, there will be, hey, you can now complete your SB 827 fiscal and financial
Okay, good to
training.
know. Thanks.
Be nice if we could do an all-in-one package.
Yeah.
Sexual harassment. That's
And
it.
I'm sure you could do a day of
Yeah.
Well, we're,
Knock it all out in a day.
one more mandate and we will be at a full 8 hours.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so it's another 2-hour training.
Yeah.
That we
Fiscal
have
and
to do
financial
becomes
training.
mandatory and must be completed by 1 January 28th.
Correct.
Okay,
Do you think it'll be
we have a little
okay
time.
to sit on the
digest that.
finance committee if we haven't actually had this training?
You have 2 years
Oh, okay.
From today.
to do the training
No, from
according to the
January first.
statute. So, but if you're a new board member or a new person who has to do this, you have to do it within 6 months. But for
For you,
you,
what? New member? Oh, good.
all right, the next
Oh,
one
I
is
didn't know that.
SB 852. Basically, this is something that I think has always been in place,
Yeah.
but we've just kind of come about it.
Yeah.
Is you need to file your Form 700 electronically with the FPPC.
Haven't we done that for
You
years?
probably have, but
We have,
now
yeah.
this has kind of been expanded to
We do, yeah.
others as well. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew about
Yeah,
it,
Gina
because it
keeps
does
it
apply.
on.
Gina's been keeping us.
Yeah, Gina's all that.
Yeah, we're
This is a review.
Oh,
Okay, got it.
Oh, that's cool. I appreciate it.
good job.
700 is always there.
Yeah, I know.
Every year.
The big.
And that is it. So, and I think Director Feldman summed it up. If you have any doubt or questions about how to implement the Brown Act, let Mary know. You have my number. Let me know. And we can work.
That's fine.
That's it. Thank
But I
you.
just wanted the
Great job.
clarity, and this helps. It gives us some sense of reality about what this one.
Great.
Every simple thing can be made more complex.
That's what government's for.
That's what it's.
So speaking of which,
for.
we talk a lot, and I think the board is very dialed into paying attention to the Brown Act. What other acts or rules govern our behavior or is a liability for us as being on the board?
The Brown Act is the big transparency.
Right.
Obviously, the ethics requirements and the conflict of interest, which is kind of tied to your Form 700 and not participating in actions where you have a financial interest. You
Yeah,
know, that's a big one. Your ethics training also includes things like the Public Records Act, but that's really managed by staff.
yeah,
The other things the board has a function of serving as the policy body and not doing the day-to-day things that management. So kind of understanding that relationship between policymaking body versus kind of day-to-day hands on the ground. That's another area where you just should be aware of those things. Those are the things I can think of off the top of my head. I'm
Well,
sure there's others.
Yeah, the most concrete one to me is the rule of law. Just the legal rules that we live within. Those are always there and we ain't allowed to mess with them. So that's beyond any of our local agency rules, but you can't do illegal things.
Yeah, if you just think
That's
about
about it.
if you just think about what puts public officials on the front page of a
Yeah.
newspaper, right? Those are the things that you need to be aware of. And it's, transparency, it's financial conflicts of
Right.
interest, it's, complying with general requirements of the law, which I can help you
Taking-
with, right?
Corrupt, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And we won't have to put these beautiful pens on our 700 form.
let's take those home.
Oh, okay.
That's not you get in trouble.
They're nice. Look at them.
Very good. But just quick.
But you didn't even get
Patrick,
one.
that was very helpful.
Excellent.
Thank
You
you.
should give.
And thank your general manager, because I said, how would I do this? And I said, what do you think about a PowerPoint? Yes, do a PowerPoint.
No, it's good.
So
Well,
that was Mary's suggestion. So
Mary's a
very
pro
good.
power.
We're gonna do this at
All with input, Mary, and Mary reviewed this.
I
Awesome.
think you should do this
This
as
is
some of the aqua.
No, it's.
I'm sure there's gonna be all this.
Symposiums. Yeah. But you've already got a.
We got it taped.
Get double time out at Aqua in San Diego.
I would, I do represent other agencies, and so I did, think about.
Did you divide up the billable hours then?
But that should be a proportion of the size of the district, right? Because
Yeah, I proportion the connection. I.
good, yeah.
Man.
Yes, shared time. That's one of the benefits of having Hanson Bridge. You have accounted multiple
Yeah.
No, yeah.
agencies in one, so.
The other
Appreciate
one
it.
that's a big one that hits us is the rules about raising the rates and how we do our rate raisings. That's also a big one, but that's been fairly static, hasn't it? No?
Yeah, and that's one where we as your staff need to stay on, and I as your legal counsel need to stay on top of that. There has been some recent court cases that impact water rates. And fortunately for this district, you've adopted a 3-year rate schedule, and the statutory period for challenging it has passed. But there is lots of litigation about water rate structures and rates, and I am on top of it, as are others at hand. Some of my law partners are actively involved in some of the litigation that's ongoing right now. And so we are on top of it. And keep our fingers crossed that we stay out of litigation.
I would never expect that we could be given a seminar on 218 per se, that would clear it up to us enough that we would ever be able to operate without asking for legal opinion consistently and constantly. I mean, when we do our stuff, we know that you're there to keep us honest and in sync with what's reality and what we have to deal with going forward. And that's exactly how it's 18, 20 years. So that's my view. And I'm not going to understand it.
We will stay on top of it, but water rates are not on your agenda. Right. And certainly members of the public would be very interested if they knew we were talking. So I suggest we actually move on from water rates to comply with the Brown Act and SB 707, but this SB 707 requirements don't kick in until January.
Well, I do have one Brown Act comment. So I did a little research about whether we should, in a roll call vote, say aye or nay. But it turns out that that's Robert's Rules of Order. And there was some research done by one of the district people finding out that we never adopted Robert's Rules. However,
Using a yay or a nay, we never said yay.
well, it wasn't that, we just never adopted the rules. But in fact, because we're under the auspice of the Brown Act, operating under the Brown Act, it's recommended when you're voting roll call with the Brown Act to vote yes or no. And I found that very interesting. So I wanted to let you know that's why I've become a yes.
Good for you.
So there is, as I talked about, the board makes policy decisions. And that would be a policy decision for you to make. From a legal perspective, aye or yes is totally appropriate.
So you hassled me unnecessarily.
Yes.
For all that time.
Yeah.
You hassled me all the time.
Let's
Okay.
move on.
No, I'm.
Carter Hill.
Yeah, well,
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
You're
welcome.
All right. Barry, let's pull it on to Carter Hill pre-stressed concrete tank. Is the tank pre-stress date set?
It started. Actually,
Oh,
we
really?
we are actually wrapping right now.
All right, I'd like to request a viewing. Can we, if you accommodate board members to come up and? Yeah, anytime, just call me. If they're stressing, we'll bring you around the backside. Okay. Because you can't get within a certain distance. Okay. They're laying that wire down at 15,000 PSI.
How long will that be going on?
It will be wrapping will be completed tomorrow
Okay.
for the first round, and then Friday will be shotcreting the top and the bottom, and then the second wrapping will happen on Monday, Tuesday, and then they'll go back into shotcreting the whole thing.
Will they be droning that? I mean, will you be droning that? And you'll be
Yes, sir.
sending that on the wherever you do that.
Alta Vista, you can.
By email, you send a mail out saying, here's the drone shots. So you'll be doing that too?
I don't know that it's how well it shows up.
Probably not that well. I'm just asking.
So yes.
Yeah. So I got the debt.
You can go ahead.
Did either of you ever get any pictures inside this tank?
Yeah, it's there in the part, there's some.
Oh, they're going up.
There's the drone.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So this was a very busy month, a lot going on. the infrastructure was built, the scaffolding infrastructure was built inside the tank.
Mhm.
And then the actual infrastructure for the dome was built, for the roof. And so, and then with that, we had the roof poured. And so we now have a dome roof, which is really, really exciting. We have, so this is some of what's inside the tank. There was, to give you some sense of, they're gonna have to end up taking all this out and it's all going out from the top. And including, there's some equipment down there too, that's.
Forklift in the left, yeah.
Okay, then.
That will have to come up from the hatches, which are 4x8.
Yes, so there's two that are 4x8 and then the one 4x4. But the one on the side that we agreed to and that one change is where the crane will be, everything will be lifted out with the crane on that one hatch.
And so the exit point is the top
The top.
in the lid, because there was discussion before about it coming out of the side.
No.
That's really good news. I was
Top
having,
sounds good, yeah.
I was having a hard time picturing that. So what will actually come out of the 4x8s? Because they're in the side, right?
No, they're on the top.
Oh, that's all.
We have no-
Oh, there's no
Nothing on the
penetration.
Penetration is an overflow pipe, that's.
I'm so glad to hear that, because it's my understanding. It doesn't mean I should have understood, but I didn't. And so I'm delighted to hear that.
I would assume the wrapping
Yeah.
of the stuff would make it impossible to bring anything out through the
They
circumference of
they
that.
come out with what they call a wrapping schedule, and the anchor tree is designed, and lots of places put penetrations.
Mhm.
We were calling it a manway. We did discuss it to give us access, but you don't have to put it,
Okay,
and we don't plan on going in that tank, but every decade when we have
no,
to,
I understand.
so.
Kent's
We
point is
dive
right.
them, I think it's a 5-year schedule.
Uh-huh.
So when we dive it, that's the maintenance that we have to do. So we don't like to take the tank off.
They don't wrap the roof.
No.
They'll come around with a
You just
shell.
do the rebar there.
Yeah.
And the roof is tied into the wall. So
I got
when
it.
they wrap the top, and that's why they double wrap the
Right.
top and the bottom, the 2 points, because that double wrapping the top it squeezes, and that's what holds the roof.
Right.
That's why there's 0 columns in our roof. There's
Right.
no support. It's just the dome
Yep.
and the walls being squeezed.
What kind of air exchange system were they utilizing? When they were inside the tank and the roof got poured? How are they moving air through that tank?
Well, the roof didn't get poured while they were in there. They are going in now, and they just use air monitors.
Uh-huh,
And then they have just the ventilation, the blowers that blow in,
yeah,
but with an air monitor. But they're just starting that now after the roof was poured.
yeah, I got it.
It was open until they poured the concrete.
Right.
Okay,
Why don't you show the video? This, I think, I sent something out, but this is,
better.
one of the days it was the day they were pouring the roof, and it literally got done in half a day. It was just
Yeah, I
it was
remember
just
it was
amazing.
faster than you thought.
It's unbelievable. It looks like a spaceship landing, doesn't it?
Mhm. Amazing. Yeah, it's huge.
Very easy.
This would be great someday to present to our ratepayers
Yeah.
for the future of Coastside County Water District.
Mhm.
And this is great.
Well, outreach at some point on this is
Yeah.
critical. We talk,
Yes.
we'll do something,
Yeah.
something. This is important and people need to understand.
We can't even put our handprints on it.
In a shotcrete.
I know, I'm just joking on that.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Do what?
Our initials.
I think maybe a brass black.
Bob was here.
Yeah, so it's Lots
You're
of
gonna put
exciting
a,
things
you're
going
gonna have it
on.
dedicated at some point with a plaque of some sort.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I think the company that's been hired
Yeah,
is so impressive.
right.
And I think the coordination job that everyone has done, that you guys have done, especially on site, but the whole staff and, you know, the contracting. I mean, when you think of the complexity of what's going on and the numbers seem large, but you watch it and you think, gosh, it seems like a party. It's just an unbelievable construction project.
It's something.
It's
Interestingly enough, we're halfway through fiscally, right?
Yeah.
So what is this schedule for completion of right next May?
In this, yeah, spring of 2026.
Okay, still got some time.
I think we're talking about filling it in January.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
filling the tank in January.
No.
No, that's not that far away.
No.
We gotta break some champagne in it, right?
We didn't pass our,
At least give it to the employees.
That'll show up in our results of lab testing.
Yeah, one bottle in a million.
Champagne.
Unbelievable. It's so.
Thank you.
All right, well, pretty cool. Thank you.
Good work.
All right. Harry, you've got some news for us on.
yes. Well, I'm very pleased to announce that we received a $87,000 check from the state for our recycled water feasibility study that we completed last year, or we presented to the board in September 2024. I've been working with the state, and even though we didn't really have a project that came out of that, it's, we showed that we made an effort. There may be a possibility to get more money. I've submitted a tweaked report with some adjustments of the person I'm coordinating with at the state.
Wow.
And so we might get more money. So, but it was exciting to get this check and because of, so anyway, so we have that.
Congratulations.
The other item I want to talk about is that on the Great Shakeout Day in October, our staff, and that would be Jeff and Darren and Sean and myself, we participated in an emergency tabletop exercise that SFPUC put on for Boston water managers. And so we had over 50 people participate, and nice conversation of, good insights. And it was a good exercise for us. So.
Was a full day?
Well, we had it was a quarterly meeting with SFPUC, and then we worked about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, that we participated. So.
And you did this with other
Water.
heads of other agencies,
Yeah,
et cetera. I mean, you were like, the whole gang was there, both senior.
Yeah,
Senior
yes,
staff, yeah.
yes, it was probably, it's over 20 agencies.
Great, no,
Yeah.
it's like good connections and good networking and good interaction. No, that's really good. That's like a super thing. Good for you.
Darren.
All right, so this month completed the annual dredging at Denison. Continued work out there on the electric gate. Did get the security cameras exterior installed out there, which is nice. New permanganate pumps, Denison, with the SCADA programming. And the annual maintenance when that place shuts down, they go to town on it. We had Central Roofing completed the new roof at the Nunes Water Treatment Plant over the generator room. We had Ryan Stoll from the distribution side transferred up to the treatment staff, so he's part of the treatment staff now, which is really good that we got somebody from within. We had a site visit from JPIA, which is the insurance company. I've had, seemed like, or had nothing but good things for them to say about us. Got our fire hydrants ordered. Continued on with the tank inspections. The culvert repair out in Palacios Canyon was completed by GSW Construction. They finished about a week ahead of schedule, considerably under budget. And I didn't know I was reading this. I passed my D4 exam.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we should say on the GSW, I think what you approved was, I believe, like 160,000, and they came in at, like 95,000.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Because it didn't take as much time for them to do it.
Wow.
So,
Well done.
So was it time and material or?
Yeah,
yeah,
so they did an estimate, not to exceed time and material. And
Great.
they really did a great job and finished about a week early.
Oh, that's good to hear, yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
and GSW is who will be doing the wells. They're managing that. So they are a great contractor, and I think, one of the things they've worked SFP seal projects as well.
Yes.
So one of the
They
things, they know
literally
the
built the
environment.
drill.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they know they know how to make sure that, we're environmentally doing everything correctly, and
Nice,
so.
They've been very good partners.
nice.
And we're excited to have them on the well project.
Good. Well, thank
Any
you.
other questions?
What, the material on the generator roof, is that silicone, the white stuff?
No, I can't remember the name of it. It slips my
It's not
mind.
silicone.
It's the same road.
Is it a high
that we put on this.
It's the same with all the hospitals. Everybody's using the same.
EPDM.
EPDM, sorry, thank you.
That's right there. EPDM roughly. So,
Yeah, it looks great. Beautiful job.
yeah, it's what's on this building. All our newer stuff is under that, so.
Well, it's great too, the white is really good at keeping down heat inside the building, so it's great.
Yeah.
The reflection is good. Yeah, looks great.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of stuff getting done, huh?
Yeah.
And people coming in under budget.
Yeah.
Wow. It's good. There's a good.
All right. I do the next one there.
That's good for revenues and development. No.
All right, team. I have a request for you, so I had Mary put it on. The dollar amount is less than Mary's signing authority, but as it's not a standard operating procedure, the thought was to bring it to the board for discussion. And I'd like to propose that we do a board member training on ways to tune up and keep our eyes on the ball as we face some future challenges. And the area that I think we have decisions that we'll be making about how this district moves forward for the next 30 years. And that'll be succession. It'll be managing our finances as we do repair and maintenance. We've got 9 more tanks to rebuild, a lot of money to spend. And I would like to propose that we have a board training on ways to avoid pitfalls that other boards may have made a mistake. And I want to be really clear. I think our board is spectacular. I really think that this is an amazing team, but I also don't want to leave an opportunity missed where we can optimize and make sure we're doing the very best job we can. And so I'm asking you to consider a 4-hour session where we tune up the team.
I think there's enough institutional knowledge sitting at this very table that I really don't feel it's necessary, and I almost feel a little insulted that I almost feel a little insulted.
I've been involved with, it's not about me, it's about all of us, but with the Citizens FBI Academy Board, we have to take training every year. by the FBI standards, which they remind us that we don't have a badge and a gun. It's like us on the street. We are representing ourselves in the district. Simple as that. And then also the I do have some good literature on leadership because good leadership understands the value of economics too. And then good leaders make tough decisions. And we're always good leaders, and so a little refresher wouldn't hurt. I think it would show the community how valuable all of our staff and all of us are giving of our time. The value that we're making the right decisions. That's my opinion on it, but I would support that.
You can go.
Okay,
Go.
I want to thank President Reynolds for taking the initiative to try and present the opportunity to get some training, and I reviewed the proposal and believe that the individual is quite competent, certainly has a strong background. I did feel that the proposal was a bit generic. I couldn't quite figure out where it was going. I couldn't tell what the program instruction was actually, and so I was a little bit uncertain as to what it really meant, the program. And number two, I'm certainly not warm and fuzzy about moving forward and spending the 4 hours on that when I believe there are many other pressing issues that we will be dealing with going forward, including our own strategic planning session and efforts to start to get rolling on that score, which will then lead to other sessions, etc. I believe in a way what Chris said is very valid, that we have a very strong group of professionals here who've done quite well over the last few years in our approach to things and making some really strong changes and contributions here to the agency. And that I don't see personally the need for my participation in that specific kind of a program at this point. So I wouldn't sort of necessarily support us spending the time at that. I mean, that's my opinion at this point. And so I would tend to be a little reticent about going for that.
Yeah, my feeling about it is it has not been changed. I think that it's kind of the cart before the horse. I think we're going to have a strategic planning session in the new year. And I think that at that time, we can really talk about what we're unified on and what our goals on and where we want to put our efforts and our energies. And so I think that the idea of having this person come and work with us to make sure that we are the best board we can be, that we learn some skills from someone looking at us. Maybe we think we're too good. Rome fell when Rome started to think that they were, God's gift to the planet, right? And so it can be one of those things where it's sort of, gee, well, we weren't written up by the, by the grand jury. We're really good. Look at how good we are by comparison. So I think it's bad to be complacent. I don't want to be a complacent board member, but for me, I just felt the timing was wrong. So I would see something like that maybe in March. Maybe we have our strategic session. We really kind of air out where we're going, what we want to do as a board of directors. And then we bring in somebody that's like a catalyst. Okay, well, these are the things you guys have talked about for 20 years. You haven't gotten them done. How can we maybe, regenerate or reoperate you guys as a group to make sure that we really put energy in and achieve the goals? So I just think the timing is not good. And I think also, Christmas time is it's a busy time of year. And so to add, 4-hour session like that, I'm not sure. I don't think my focus would be 100%. I mean, you got 3 grandchildren and, some other hobbies. And so that's my feeling. I was hoping to hear something that would modify because I want to support you with it. I think you care about it. It's in Mary's spending authority. So, I mean, reasonably can go ahead without really our approval, but I think that would be a horrible meeting. You know, if the majority of the people stumbled in and they weren't really excited about it. So I'd like to do it when we're, in my opinion, when I feel really positive about doing it.
Well,
And
thank you. I appreciate that. I think I would agree with you that if the board members don't want to participate, there's not much point in doing it. I think that if we aren't looking at ourselves on how we can improve, we set ourselves up for failure. And I think that hubris and overconfidence that we are the best of the best compared to what? You know, it's a pretty low bar to look at ourselves and say, well, we haven't gone to jail today, so we're doing a great job. And so I feel really strongly that the team should be working on having every tool we can to do as good a job we can. So that's my proposal. So we'll table it and move on. Thank you for your thoughts.
does there have to be a motion to table something?
No, I mean, it was brought up under the director's comments, it's getting your input on whether
Yes.
to go forward with this training, and I think the majority, three of you spoke, and President Reynolds was like, okay, we can do it.
Well, you gotta be careful because throughout the country, in my leadership training, sometimes it's just an oral massage. And so you gotta make sure you come away with something that's for the future. And I'm sure this professional has the skill to do that.
Well, thank you for your consideration. All right. Any directors' comments, requests, suggestions, songs, group songs? All right, let's adjourn the meeting then.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Happy Redwood States.